When doing Christian theology, our notions of space and time and how it directly works has enormous ramifications for the conclusions that we'll come to theologically. So, for example, why is Jesus baptized even though he's sinless? In traditional Christian thinking, how is the cross, the sacrifice of the cross, present in each and every Eucharist? In justification, how can the future declaration come back in time into the present? When thinking about Mary, how can she receive a grace ahead of time to be able to bear Christ? How does God's omniscience work? Does God foreknow? He certainly foreknows, but does he foreknow in such a way that he causes everything that will be? Or does God allow certain things to have a certain level of autonomy or freedom within the cosmos? You see, the way that we answer these questions will really set us up for a large theological framework that we'll find ourselves then placed into. So just a quick thought experiment here. If you are somebody who still holds to space and time in a Newtonian framework, so time was, time is, and time will be, you may give different answers to that question than if you hold a more Einsteinian framework of time, or based off the theory of relativity, that time and space actually bend around gravity, okay? Now, I'm not saying that that science needs to dictate our theology here, but what it can certainly do is give us certain frameworks or a certain way of thinking that can help us make sense of some of these concepts. So myself, I would hold a more Einsteinian view of time, and actually I think that fits far better with traditional Christian theology, that certain things can actually wrap around one moment in time, such as the Mass or the Eucharist, the past, the future, and various times throughout history are all present at the same table. You see, that's traditional Christian understanding of the Eucharist and of anamnesis, which is the concept that, again, the past and the future are brought into the present in the Eucharist, in Christ's substantial presence in his body and his blood. That's the traditional understanding and rendering of John 6 as well. But it does make a lot more sense when we hold views of space and time that would fit more in line with Einsteinian ways of thinking. This is also an ancient way of thinking. The ancient church father Boethius would talk about time being real to God. So as opposed to just like, here's time and God is over time, he is in a sense, but what Boethius would say is that God is actually present at each individual moment, and each individual moment is real, and God is present in that moment. And I think that's actually a much more intelligible way of making sense of so many of these complex doctrines that we see in Christianity and putting together this large coherent framework. So that doesn't certainly solve everything, but it gives us hopefully some conceptual space to wrestle with how does time work in our discernment of Christian theology. God's peace.